Right, how are we going to start this?
Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of Shouting Over Static. That's how we're going to start it.
Sick.
Wonderful.
How's that for an intro? I am
Pretty
your
good,
host
I
for
love
this
it.
week. I'm full of energy. It's Mark. Rustling away over there, it sounds like Thom.
Hello,
Hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Dylan's about somewhere.
Hello.
Yes, there he is. He's in the internet talking to me. And
Best
Jack?
place to be.
Yeah, I'm here as well.
Sweet. How's everyone doing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
not
good.
too bad.
Have we all had a good week?
It's been a week.
Busy. Yeah.
It was the days Sunday to Friday happened. That's all I can say for certain.
Everyone seems to be getting ill at the moment, at least where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't there like
I
a
got
new
super ill
harmful
last
like,
week.
flu bug or whatever coming around?
Yeah, it's just a bummer.
Yeah, it's bad stuff. But do you know what's not ill? Well, it is ill, but like good ill, like rap ill.
The illest.
This
Video
podcast.
games. That too.
Yeah, that too. So, the format, as previously discussed, is one of us brings a game to the table, the virtual table. Unbeknownst to the rest of us, they reveal it, and then we see where the discussion goes.
Yeah.
It's Tom's turn this week.
It is. It is. And I've chosen a game that I previously mentioned to the guys may sort of tick a nostalgia box. I used to love this game when I was young. It came out in the year 2000, so I probably played it when I was like 7 or 8. I don't actually know if anyone, I don't know if it was a really popular game. I know it's really cool. It's Spiderman for the PlayStation 1. Spiderman 2000.
Oh,
What a
yeah.
What a game.
Oh, that's a good sign. Yeah, no,
Yeah, is that the one... Ooh, yeah, no, you go.
Yeah, I used to play this game relentlessly. It was sort of like a 3D platformer, right? Yeah, you played as Spider-Man. You basically the whole game. You went around rooftops, swinging around, but only twice. You could only swing twice at a time, couldn't you? Was that a thing? I feel like that was a thing.
I remember it being that game where if you fell, you just died, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, there was no you couldn't go down to street level.
Yeah.
You could only stay on rooftops
They-
or inside the building.
I guess they didn't want to build a whole city, so they just covered half the game in green mist.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've just googled it to see some pictures of it, and this is exactly the Spider-Man game I was thinking of. This game
Hell
is
yeah!
the bomb-ass Spider-Man game ever. It's great.
With narration from Stan Lee himself.
Weird.
Oh, really?
Didn't know that.
Because wasn't Stanley the voice of Beast in that game? Pretty sure he was he?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. But
That's some top-notch knowledge if he is.
That's a deep cut, Jack.
yeah.
I'm just trying to remember it, because I actually remember playing this on the PS1 as well.
I don't think I know anybody who hasn't played this game.
Yeah,
Sounds
I never owned it, but I definitely played it at several friends' houses. I didn't have a PlayStation 1, I had an N64.
Yeah, it was it was so good. It was one of those games that I think just if you knew someone who had it, you had to go play it because
Hell yeah.
fun game.
It was Spider-Man. You could be Spider-Man, which is what every 7-year-old wants to be, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and it had quite a lot of freedom as well. I think because that's kind of why I always liked the idea of a Superman game or something like that. Although it was never really affected very well. And I guess similarly to Batman, you had a lot more freedom. So I like open world games because you get to run around and they're fun.
Yeah.
But
And you
you
could...
can still only run around on the ground, right?
Yeah.
But then when you're Spider-Man, you get to go fucking everywhere. It's so cool.
Yeah, you can climb on walls and you can zip across and ceilings and stuff. You can fire... What is it? You could do web... Impact web and web yank and web dome and all these things.
I've
web
got-
fists
I've
and
got-
stuff.
Strong memories of being inside a building, crawling around on the ceiling and ganking dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the ability to crawl on the ceiling. I thought was pretty cool for a
Yeah.
video game.
It's like having a normal video game with cheats active all the time.
That is Spider-Man.
Man, cheats are
Like, it tells you
superpowers.
when you're going to get hit.
Oh yeah,
You can walk on walls.
yeah. He'd get like lightning bolts coming out of his head for spider sense.
Oh,
yeah,
God, yeah, I remember
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
yeah. No, it was just an awesome game.
That was a good game.
But yeah, this is one that probably several months ago I went back and I was like, hey, here's my old PlayStation 1. I'm going to try and play that Spider-Man game. And, oh my God, it is not how I remembered it. Like,
Really?
I remember it being, like, HD, you know, the way you, like, you know, it was high definition, it had these flawless animations and characters, and no, you go back and everyone is a cube. And
Yeah.
there's, like, 4 textures for the whole game.
But I guess you could really say that about like most of the PlayStation games if you go back and try and.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's like how, like, you know, you play Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and it's awesome, and then you play 4 and you go back and San Andreas just isn't. It's, you know, it's just janky and rough around the edges and, well, rough all over.
There is something to be said for that generational change, isn't there?
Yeah, but still, it was awesome. Like, all those villains and like Venom and Scorpion. Was it Scorpion? And Lizard Man and Rhino, Doc Ock.
Really, really great bad guys in Spider-Man, isn't there?
Yeah, it's like you watch a film, you get to see like 1, 2, or 3 villains. No, you just get to fight all of them in this game, and then put them all in prison, and somehow they're allowed to just be in a prison cell together with all of their like super suits and stuff.
You imprison the bad guy, not the identity underneath. That's how comic book worlds work.
Man, well, to be fair, I suppose they always get out in the end, don't they?
Yeah,
They would like,
because they're imprisoned in their super.
yeah, like it would like comic books would be really boring if they had to come up with a new villain all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a sick game, and I love it. And actually, there's a
Was
new.
it tied into a film?
No,
Spider-Man.
With it's semi-based around the first one. So you've got his outfit that he has when he's a wrestler and stuff for a little bit, and I think there is a wrestling level. Like you're in the
I'm going to be honest, Dylan. I think you're thinking of a different Spider-Man game,
potentially.
because this one, I feel like it starts with a bank heist. I think.
Yeah,
you're
so
definitely just
the
but you-
Sam Raimi Spider-Man films came out. The first one was 2002, and so this came out in 2000. So this wasn't a movie tie-in. But I think
Although
there
that
were
was
movie
also a
tie-in
pretty
games,
cool
weren't
Spider-Man
there?
game.
Potentially. I think I know. I do know the one you mean. You mean.
Yeah, it was the like green mist everywhere one.
Oh yeah, no, the one I know the one you're talking about. That was a sick video game.
Yeah.
Man, Spider-Man is just good at making video games.
Oh yeah.
Because Insomnia's making that Spider-Man game, aren't they?
The one that looks like Arkham City with Spider-Man instead.
Yeah, I've got nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean that just sounds kind of fun, right?
Yeah, Arkham City was a cool game. I think
Spider-Man's
it
a
would
cool
look good with
guy.
more colour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's coming out next year, isn't it?
I think so.
I'm actually really excited for a new
Games
Spider-Man game.
now, though, right? Like the at E3 they had a whole section,
Yeah.
and that's sort of the moment everyone was like, there's a lot of zip lining up to ledges and watching people and
Oh, I do love watching people
doing
from ledges.
Batman. It's a fun activity.
Trying to find out when the last proper Spider-Man game was for like that isn't a phone game.
Isn't it like the Amazing Spider-Man? Didn't that come out at like the same time as the?
Oh, they did have a game for the Amazing Spider-Man, didn't they?
The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the 2014 video game tie-in, was the last Spider-Man game that was actually a Spider-Man game and not just a phone game or a different game that Spider-Man was guesting in.
Yeah.
So it'd be,
And it got
but
49% on Metacritic.
Oh man.
that's top fucking notch. That's great.
Oh, I remember that
How
one.
can you ruin a Spider-Man game?
That's the one where
Eurogamer gave it a 2 out of 10.
Wow. So I mean, there's potential here for like this new thing to be an actual like kind of okay game.
A
If it
return
does,
to the
like-
heady days of 2000.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Spider-Man has a lot of. There's a good avenue to go down as a game. I mean, that's obviously been shown already, right? But it's annoying that the last few times, because I think the Spider-Man 3 tie-in game was also kind of trash.
But wasn't the
since
Spider-Man
then-
2 tie-in game like incredible? Wasn't that the one that was like a
So
fully
good.
3D render of New York and it was awesome?
Yeah, like that, because like the first Spider-Man movie game was similar to the Spider-Man we're talking about, in that you could only really be on rooftops, you couldn't go to the ground and stuff.
Yeah.
But then they just like let you go everywhere in the next one, and you had to go like get people's handbags that had been stolen and like lots of petty crime stuff. It was pretty fun.
I love handbags.
But
So-
then, yeah, Spider-Man 3 I think was kind of rubbish, and then it's been shit since then, which is sad.
The first line of Eurogamer's 2 out of 10 Amazing Spider-Man 2 review is, "It's like a part of me has died."
Oh man.
Well, that was their first line.
That's the first. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 review, "It's like a part of me has died."
Oh no.
Imagine being the developers as well. You see that review come out. You've spent just like years working on this game, and the first thing you read is, "A part of me has died." Just how sad would that be?
Man. Yeah, see, I remember this
Incredibly
is
sad.
that game is the one with the cover art is Spider-Man hanging upside down.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing a load of pictures when it released of like game retail outlets putting the poster upside down so that Spider-Man is the right way up.
What?
Yeah, I guess they didn't quite get it.
Didn't
That's
quite
it.
look at the words.
Yeah.
I mean, who looks at words nowadays? It's all about pictures. We need fast media, not reading. Reading's slow.
Show me a
This is
picture of
why
Spider-Man.
we're doing an audio format, I guess.
Yeah. We don't want to write blogs. Imagine having to read our discussion.
It would be meandering at best.
This is why we've got no deaf fans. Not because we've only got 2 fans and they can hear, but because they'd have to read our discussion.
There are submissions for Peter Parker this time, but they mostly involve just wandering around empty locations and triggering long-winded conversations.
Oh.
This is a pretty brutal review, and not in like a mean way, just in like a I'm really, really upset. This game is so bad.
Why would you put a Peter Parker mission in your Spider-Man game?
Because you want to make Watch Dogs.
Yeah, okay.
Fuck Watch Dogs. Nah, Watch Dogs 2 is really good, to be fair.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought you really liked Watch Dogs 2.
Watch Dogs 2 is actually like kind of great. There's a gun with a skull at the end of it, and you shoot out of its face.
Out of like the mouth or the eye holes?
Yeah, out of the mouth, because they 3D print all of their guns, so all the guns look fucking crazy. 'Cause they're just like, yeah, we'll make them look however we want. Also, they 3D print all of their guns because they're all like edgy tech nerds in San Francisco.
That's pretty cool. I played the first one because it was free on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And I know it got a lot of hate, and I think probably I don't feel the same hate because I got it for free. But it's an enjoyable enough game. It's like Grand Theft Auto, but with you can control bridges.
It's just Aiden Pierce is such a fucking miserable cardboard cutout toilet character. He's awful.
I think it might help that I skipped almost every cutscene.
Yeah, see, like Aiden Pierce is so intolerably miserable the entire time in that game.
Yeah. Also, kind of a dick. It's really hard to, like, be on the side of the character when he's just a bad person. He's just a complete cunt. It's like, you're just murdering people.
That might be the first time we've said that word on this podcast.
Oh, maybe. You might have to bleep it. Some
I'm not
people
going
don't
to.
like
Just put
that
that
word.
there
This is how
now.
we
I'm
don't
not
make
going to.
the big time.
You're actually going to jack the
no.
volume up on that?
loads of maximise it. No, we're not going to do that. That would be weird. Do you know who's not a complete cunt?
Who?
Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He saves the day. I'm trying to think about some other Spider-Man games that were rad. Do you ever play? In one of the Tony Hawk's games, you could unlock Spider-Man and play as Spider-Man.
You know why that is?
Really?
Because it's the same engine, isn't it?
Yeah, it's because Neversoft made both of those.
Are they both made by Neversoft?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Oh,
Yeah,
what happened to Neversoft?
Because I always remember the their intro was that eye getting impaled.
Yes, that is the Neversoft logo.
Yeah.
So creepy.
It was kind of creepy for the beginning of a Spider-Man game.
Oh, poor old Neversoft.
Man.
Did you ever play Ultimate Spider-Man? The
Ultimate
one that
Spider-Man.
had Venom in it.
No, I didn't, but I watched Ollie play quite a lot of it on his GameCube at one point, I think.
So, like, I remember seeing that game and thinking, this is so cool. And then finding out that there was a DS version of it. It was like, I'm going to be able to take this everywhere. The DS version is a 2D side-scroller.
What?
So when I got that, so I think my brother went and picked it up from, like, Sainsbury's or whatever. Came back, put it in, and was like, well, this is disappointing. But, actually, a really fun game. I played that game a lot. And, like, you get to be Venom, you get to be Symbiote, I think. Or Carnage, whatever it's called.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I think there is a surprising pedigree to Spider-Man games. Yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man is. I've definitely played a little bit of it and watched it being played. Really awesome art style, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It looks like a comic book.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And it's actually quite based on... So the Ultimate Spider-Man comic started in, I can't remember when, but like sometime in the 2000s. So.
2000 to 2009, according to this Wikipedia article.
No, but not the game, so the comics themselves.
Yeah,
In...
the superhero comic book series that was published by Marvel Comics from 2000 to 2009.
Oh, I thought you said it started 2009. I was going to say, that seems too late. I got that game before then. But yeah, so like the game's really...
Did you get it from Jeff Keighley?
I remember playing that first and then going to the comics and be like, oh shit, this is the same story. I feel like I've already read these. It's really actually quite accurate to it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Remarkable.
A fun game. Man, Spider-Man games are good.
Yeah.
I should play more. Maybe I'll get a PS4 just for this one.
That would be an interesting reason to get a PlayStation 4, wouldn't it? I think this Insomniac one definitely has potential to be pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what they showed at E3 earlier this year got me really excited for it. That might have been actually what made me go back and play Spider-Man 2000.
Weren't you also playing like Spyro and stuff at the time?
Oh yeah, I did go through and do all of Spyro 2 and 3.
And Toy Story, right?
I
swear I was playing the Toy Story game at some point.
Yeah, I totally had Toy Story 2, I want to say. Was it Toy Story 2? Oh, I don't know. Man,
one of them.
PlayStation 1 games were really cool.
Or Rugrats, was it that?
No, I didn't have
Remember
Rugrats.
the Rugrats PlayStation 1 game?
Yeah, I used to go around people's houses and play it. Because that game was awesome.
Man, that sort of era of games has really left its mark on me.
Mm.
I think back to them, like, I never really think about them, but then as soon as you think back to them, it's like, holy shit, there's a lot of... It's a real nostalgia bomb.
Yeah, you never really, like...
I think a lot of other things aren't.
You never
They
really,
were
like,
formative,
appreciate
weren't they?
how much it had an impact on your childhood until you actually sit down and think back and be like, well, actually, this game at the time was actually really good.
Yeah.
To be fair, I had a game which was World's Scariest Police Chases on PlayStation 1. And it was like
Sounds really bad.
It was really bad, but it was also quite fun. It was like 3D GTA 1.
Oh, man.
Basically. Like that.
Like GTA 3.
No, because it was like GTA 1.
Top down.
No, it was just bad. Like, it was just an empty city, and you could only drive a car. That's all you could do. You couldn't get out. And it would, like, an arrow would appear pointing you in the direction of, like, a suspect, and you had to go and either ram them off the road or shoot them down, basically. And that was it.
What?
That was the game.
a very accurate representation of how police.
Exactly. It was weird. It was like a PlayStation 1 tie-in game for that TV show with the guy, the like narrator who's. It must be just one guy who's got that really distinctive voice and style of talking about police chases.
Yeah,
Yes, the police chase man.
Yeah, and he narrated it as well.
What, the entire game? So you're just going around with this guy?
No, like he was it like the beginning, the intro cinematic maybe that came on before the game to like tell you that it was violent and that what was it? It said like player discretion is advised because it like shows it was suggesting that it showed like graphic police chases, but actually they were really bad graphic police chases. Yeah. That was...
You can't expect much from the PlayStation 1.
No, but yeah, like, that's just an example of a PlayStation 1 game that at the time I knew it was crap. But I also played the balls off that thing.
It's
at
like when
the
people
time you knew it was crap. That's pretty brutal.
Yep. As a, like, 8-year-old kid, I was like, man, I should get something like San Andreas. Something like that should exist.
Spiderman and Spyro were better.
Yeah, man.
Sorry,
like
Dylan.
When people think back to, like, you always, like, this era of music was better. We almost did that with PlayStation then. It's just like, oh yeah, those games were all so good. And it's like, no, you just don't remember the shit game.
Yeah.
Also, like, there was some horse shit in a lot of the good games too. Like, some of the games that are still put up on that pedestal of incredibly important video games that came out on the PlayStation, such as, say, like, the first Resident Evil, functionally impossible to play now.
Yeah.
Like
that's what we were saying before, isn't it, about San Andreas? It's like, you go back to it, you can't play it.
Yeah.
They require the nostalgia to be fun.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, even Spider-Man, which we recognise as being, like, a wicked game for the PlayStation 1, really cool, loads of interesting things that it did it well, there was a sense of freedom and movement to it that was really different and surprising for that era of video games. Tom's even just said, like, no, it plays like shit.
Yeah. Like, the camera's all over the place, like, you zip from one wall to another, and all of a sudden it spins around, and, like, you can never look where you want, and it's stuff like that, isn't it? Like...
Yeah, like, it looks and handles like a turd.
It's like, developers have really had a lot of time to build up these tiny things that now we don't really notice, like camera angles.
Yeah.
And you still get games that can't fucking deal with them, and it's ridiculous, but... Thankfully, you get a lot more games where cameras have done, I think, they've gotten a bit better. Also, I think we get more first-person games now, so you don't have to deal with camera angles.
Yeah, the fully 3D camera is a real tricky one. That is actually quite novel. I'm totally going to do a little plug here, but this is actually quite a novel part of playing Super Mario Odyssey. Is like the full 3D camera that's really good.
Yeah.
Because, like, the last Mario game to have a full 3D camera was Sunshine.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember this, but Sunshine had the horizontal axis inverted and you couldn't change it.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to look left, you had to push right on the stick, and that's some horse shit.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Odyssey, they've just gone, no, we're just going to make it a really good camera. So that's quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, like, maybe, I guess, hopefully they learn, right? From people telling them, what you've done here is just stupid.
Yeah, but, like, and I imagine it's not even that they've just learned from themselves, but they'll have learned from other games too, like that, like other games too, right? Because you look at, like, the history of video games, it goes through, and the history of the 3D camera, and yeah, there is some real crap in that sort of N64, PlayStation 1 era as they were developing 3D, like, not only 3D cameras, but like fucking 3D video games.
Yeah.
And now games have kind of actually got it sorted. Just about. Just about.
Just Cause 3 still sucks in that regard.
Oh, that game
sucks?
sucks for a whole bunch of other reasons.
What game's this?
Just Cause 3.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm really disappointed well, I've not played it myself, so I can't judge, but from what you guys have said, is not a good game.
Yeah,
I really resented that one of the missions said, hey, go and shoot these people, but because I hadn't done enough of the racing side missions, I hadn't unlocked the ability to aim down sights, and so it was really
What?
shit shooting people.
That sounds like a really stupid thing to put in a game.
That explains why shooting is also really crap in that game.
Yep.
For a game that is essentially successful because it's fun to just go in and tit around in,
Yeah.
they made it incredibly hard to go in and tit around.
Yeah, and like a bunch of you can only apply your, so like, you know, you can get so they have the charges that you throw, like the bombs you put on stuff.
Yeah.
And then you can, like, one of their big things was you can make it like a rocket jet. And then there was another couple of things you can make them do as well. But it's not like different types of bomb. It's, you have to go into a menu and change, you have to go into like the pause menu, then the upgrades menu, and then change which upgrade you have applied to it, and then jump all the way back out before you can use it. So it just means swapping between them, again, is just a really, like, tedious process. They just took all the fun. They were like, okay, let's add a bunch of way more crazy, like, funner stuff into Just Cause 2, but let's make it bullshit to get any of it.
They've made it really easy to sell cool-looking parts of it, so you always see GIFs and videos of things happening in the Just Cause.
Yeah, like someone tying
But
two
I guess,
planes together and making them fly into space or something.
but I guess if you've got all these menus, you can do that once, right? You can make one cool thing happen, and then you have to go through a bunch of menus to make the next cool thing happen, but you don't see that in a game.
Yeah.
So it's really good on a selling the game kind of aspect, but really bad once you actually get the game.
Yeah, I found it very disappointing and stopped playing after about 3 hours, I think. It didn't have the same sense of, like, wild freedom as Just Cause 2. Where Just Cause 2 is like, you just turn up, it's like, here's all this shit, start blowing things up.
Yeah,
Just Cause 3, you turn up, it's like, here's all this shit, now, before you can blow up some stuff for the next mission, you need to do some races. It's like, no, I don't want to do any races in your shit game where the driving's bad.
It just seems so strange that they didn't try and just make a sense, because Just Cause 2, I had a lot of fun playing for a bit, and then like getting the multiplayer mod and playing with friends was really fucking fun.
Yeah.
They must have known that that's the reason that was a fun game, right? Like, it was just fun to be like blowing up some cars and flying them into a mountain.
Yeah, it is fun to be Rico Rodriguez, the Mexican physics-defying wizard.
Yeah. But, oh well.
That is another game, mechanically, in its own bizarre way, quite similar to Spider-Man. There's a lot of swinging around in that, and grappling.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, grappling hooks, they're what make games good. I think I've said this on this podcast before, or at least to you guys. Grappling hooks in games are fun.
Do you reckon that new Spider-Man game will have a good grapple in it?
Well, I'd hope.
You'd hope, right?
But, like, Spiderweb counts as a grappling hook. Because you got, Spider-Man,
I don't know, I feel like
Titanfall.
like if it's just you press a button and you swing, that's not quite the same as like firing a web and then climbing up it. Or like firing a web and climbing down it, maybe. You know? That would be really cool to have.
I reckon they'll put in like a fire and get pulled towards that surface mechanic, right?
Yeah, probably.
Definitely.
Yeah.
In fact, you see it in the gameplay they've already showed.
Oh, really? Sweet.
Yeah. He zips up to, like, ledges and stuff.
Oh, yeah, of course, because then he watches people.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet Spider-Man's a really good peeping Tom.
Oh, the best, isn't he?
He's a photographer as well.
He's got a really, really good lens, and he can just go and like dangle outside people's windows.
They're built into his suit now as well, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Lens from afar.
Oh,
But yeah, like-
Spider-Man. Yeah, I think another Spider-Man game. There's definitely room for it if they can avoid the pitfalls of like the last 5 or 6 years worth of Spider-Man games.
yeah.
They can,
But I think-
yeah.
Sorry, go on. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, if they can avoid the pitfalls of like the last 5 or 6 years of Spider-Man games, and they take the right inspiration from Batman, but also like, and then I think if they channeled like Spider-Man 2000 and like Spider-Man 2 for the PS2, and like they took the right inspiration from those as well, it could be awesome.
And get the charm of Spider-Man Homecoming. Because I
Yeah.
think that's what Amazing Spider-Man probably was missing, was that those films didn't have much charm. They were just like sort of meh Spider-Man films.
Andrew Garfield is also another cardboard cutout of a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you get the sort of cheeky charm of what's his chops, Tom, whatever.
Tom Holland?
Yeah, that's the one. You might be able to be onto something there. Although I think some people have pointed out that it looks like the new Spider-Man is sort of a end of his career aging Spider-Man
Ooh.
from what we've seen.
The gritty
Because there's
reboot of Spider-Man.
Oh man.
Well, no, so there's the whole, not as in like old, but as in like sort of current comic Spider-Man, in that he's like in his 30s and he's been doing it a while. Because in the trailer you see Miles Morales and stuff.
Oh. What if you only play as like Peter Parker for like the first mission, and then you just hand over the suit to Miles, and then you play as Black Spider-Man?
It'd be pretty cool.
I'd be well into it.
I'd be into it if it was Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
He's too busy being Lando Calrissian.
Man.
Oh, mate, that's done now. He can be Miles Morales now.
Isn't he already in those Spider-Man films?
Yeah, he was in the latest one.
Yeah.
But the new Spider-Man game is unrelated to the Spider-Man films, right?
Oh yeah, this is true.
Which I'm kind of glad. I'm actually kind of glad about that.
Yeah, me too. It lets them not be bound by the whole like vulture stuff.
Yeah.
But I do know what you mean. Even though it's not like directly tied into it, it's not a movie game or whatever. It does need to perhaps take some inspiration from the tone a bit. Like it does need to be a bit more playful. I think as well that would help inform the gameplay too. Like if they can make the gameplay like quite fluid and free and playful, that would also make it like a far more I don't know, like realistic Spider-Man simulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's a big part of his character, isn't it? That he obviously it gets serious sometimes, but a lot of it is just he has fun. It seems.
I feel like with the speech that they're going to put into this new one, I don't want them to try too hard to try and make it like too funny and like up to date with how cheeky the new Spider-Man is, because I feel like then that's why they might have a bit of a downfall. If they throw in too many mistimed jokes and whatever, I feel like it could perhaps backfire.
But like the new Spider-Man isn't like a new way of seeing Spider-Man. It's just going back to how Spider-Man should be, right?
Yeah,
so if they're making a sort of proper Spider-Man game that's not tied into a film, they should have him be this sort of sarcastic, quick-witted, just like twat.
I think Insomniac, apart from that one time that they tried to make like really gritty shooters, Fuse, and I think like Resistance games are kind of a thing of themselves, but the times that Insomniac have actually tried to be funny, I think they've done really well. Like the Ratchet and Clank games are legitimately funny and well written.
Yeah, and they did
Sunset Overdrive was also quite funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sunset Overdrive is great. I really like Sunset Overdrive.
Man, I haven't played that game in a long time.
Yeah, I got it with my Xbox, and it was the first thing I played before Halo came out and stuff like that. And I played that all the way through, did absolutely everything, and then stopped because there's not actually that much in it.
Yeah.
Which was a bit sad because that is a really fun game to play. And very fluid movement mechanics. Like you get around that city. It's another one of those games where it's really fun to move around. So I think if they've got experience of that, hopefully they can bring that into it.
Totally.
Would that have been Insomniac's last release?
No. They've done a bunch of stuff since then. They've done some VR games. They did the Ratchet and Clank reboot.
Oh man.
Yeah, Insomniac do some fucking work, man. Hang on, let's get it up. Yeah, so since Sunset Overdrive, they've released a game called Slow Down Bull. I don't know what that is. They've done 3 phone games called Fruit Fusion, Bad Dinos, and Digit in Dash. They did Ratchet and Clank for the PS4. They did Song of the Deep, which was that GameStop published game that was apparently actually like quite good. They did a few VR games that were all right as well. Yeah, so they've put in some fucking work, man. And Insomniac they've got like 3 teams or something.
Oh right, okay. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, my understanding is those VR games they did are apparently pretty good. They tried to make like actual games as opposed to shooting galleries, which like games with stories and stuff, which I kind of respect.
It's kind of novel for like a VR game as well.
At the moment, yeah.
It's because it's easy to make a shooting gallery, right?
Yeah, I imagine it would be.
And it feels good also, doesn't it? Like the idea is like it's hard to justify the experience you're having. It's very easy to correlate you standing there holding 2 wands with a mask on and then like shooting guns in like a 3D space. That maps really well. Like trying to do other experiences are harder to map and harder to justify why it's even in VR. Because I think the one they did that I saw footage of was like a third-person action adventure where you were like the cameraman behind a person moving around, and you were walking them around with like an Xbox One controller or something.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Because like I think every Oculus Rift comes with an Xbox One controller.
Oh, cool.
So like yeah, it wasn't that kind of like VR experience, but it was seemed cool. I don't know. Yeah, Insomniac do good work. I love the Ratchet and Clank games. I think they're awesome. Some of my favourite games ever.
Yeah.
And they're funny. They're funny games. They're well written. They've got good jokes in. They've got a good sense of comic timing, and they can do. And it is very much that kind of sarcastic, double entendre kind of. It's very much a comic book style of humour. So I think it could translate into Spider-Man really well.
Yeah, for sure. They've definitely shown that they've got the sort of chops to make that kind of game, not to make a good game, but to make that specific kind of game. I think they've proven themselves, so hopefully they can do it.
Yeah, for definite.
Have you seen that Respawn have recently announced they're going to be making a VR game?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, it's completely separate from Titanfall and Star Wars, apparently. So, that's good, because I don't want to play Titanfall in VR. Well, I do, but...
I would be sick immediately.
Imagine an ejection from a Titan in VR. That'd be fucking terrifying.
I'll poo myself every time.
I kind of want it.
Yeah.
Just to try it, because I like it. I heard I was watching some VR content, and someone sort of described like some VR stuff. It's like, trying it makes you feel a bit like Chuck Yeager, like a test pilot, like pushing the envelope. Like how hard can I push this experience, and to see how sick I can make myself feel.
Man,
I think I don't know if I'd want to play actual like competitive Titanfall in VR, but I would love something that lets you mess around with like Titan ejections and wall running and shit in VR just to see how weird it makes me feel.
I feel like wall running would be really surreal.
How quickly can you run the gauntlet in VR?
What was that, Tom?
How quickly can you run the gauntlet in VR?
Oh, mate. We can run the gauntlet in VR with 2 people in 30 seconds. I feel like VR we've got down.
Man.
But yeah, that would be
pretty cool.
Like, you'd definitely vomit doing VR free running, right? Wall running.
Yeah, 100%.
Because that'd just throw you off so much.
Imagine VR Mirror's Edge.
Oh.
Like how crazy that would be.
I think someone did it. I think someone modded Mirror's Edge so you could play it in an Oculus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, hang on. I'll check that because I
'Cause that
think
just sounds
someone.
super. It sounds awesome, but I imagine like the concept probably sounds a lot better than the actual game would play
Yeah,
out.
there's a
but-
few videos on YouTube.
Yeah, because I remember seeing something about it, and it looked because there's a lot of head bob in Mirror's Edge. There's like
Yeah.
a lot of head sway. I remember watching it and just being like, that would make you just be so ill. I don't know how you could stomach that for like more than about 10 seconds.
Well, there's VR Batman, right? Arkham City.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's not that kind of thing, though, is it? It's like Batman detective adventures. You just kind of like wander around, like
Oh,
throw
really?
in, yeah, you throw like boomerangs at people and explore like static areas with detective vision.
Well, that's disappointing.
Yeah, it's nothing too crazy. Oh, mate, Spiderman VR.
We should just put everything in VR. Live our lives in the Matrix.
Shouting over static in VR.
Everywhere
be
you
cool.
look, you just see our logo.
Yeah. Or it's just
Yeah,
the whole
that's all we've
experience. The whole experience is a room with a laptop open, showing the YouTube video.
Well,
It's just that.
there is a VR video game talk show now. It's called the Foo Show.
Really?
What?
Is it like the camera's in the middle of them all or something?
Well, so the way it works is you put on your headset and you load up their like virtual data with it, and it gives you a so what it is basically like it's like the host, this guy Will Smith, not that Will Smith. He him and his team generate virtual space based on a video game, and they generate virtual avatars based on whoever's talking from that video game stuff and for him, and then they go inside the virtual space and they conduct like a discussion about the game within the game and looking at like the props and messing around with it in like VR, and then you load into it into VR, and while they're doing that, not live, I don't think, but while they're doing that, you then explore that area as well. So then, like, if like the developer picks something up, it's like, yeah, so this is an interesting prop actually. The story behind this is whatever. You can sort of get around behind them and look at the other side of it and weird shit like that.
That's really
The
cool.
Foo Show.
Cool.
I'm into that.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. It's really crazy. Like, I think my understanding is now a lot of the tech used from that. Like, he now does a lot of work with Adult Swim, making a live football pundit program, like NFL pundit thing, but it's all live, done in VR, and like with a bunch of weird props, and they just kind of talk shit for like an hour and a half, and it's all done. Yeah, it's some of the stuff they're doing with VR that isn't shooting galleries is sweet as fuck.
That's really cool. Man,
There's a whole sort of beta Halo experience coming out in VR as well. It's free and it's not very long. But they were recently talking about it, and I think it's for like Microsoft mixed reality headsets or whatever. And it's like you just go up and like walk around and look at an elite and shit like that. But
it's pretty
everyone
cool.
seems to be getting in it slowly.
Yeah. I mean, it's really not taken long for VR to become an actual thing.
I mean, VR's been around for like a fair while now. Right?
Decades in some form or another.
Yeah, do you remember those the arcade tank game where you had like the big yellow helmet that you could pull down?
No.
And it had like triggers on it.
No, I can't remember that
Did
at
any
all.
of you ever play that?
Man, you've been to some sweet arcades.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
No,
my
they had
arcades
them.
were garbage.
They had them in like so many arcades. You must have seen them at some point. So it was just a shit tank game, really. I think it was you and another tank on a small battlefield. I can't really remember, but it always looked really cool. But it was always quite busy because it was the coolest looking thing. So I only played it a few times. But I think that was sort of my first foray into VR, and that was when I was before I was 10. a while ago now.
Oh shit! I've just got a picture of it up, and it looks like the craziest thing on the planet. Yeah, it's a big helmet in front of a CRT, and there's some handles on the helmet. There's a dude wearing it here. He looks like he's become one with a wasp.
I saw that Marvel film.
I'll put it in the Facebook group, and I'll see if I can find something. Yeah, I don't know what it's called.
What the hell is that? I've just googled it myself, but what the hell?
I can't find what it's called anywhere, but it looks like it crosses you. It's like a man wasp with a video game.
Oh yeah, that is a weird looking thing.
Well, one of the images I found, on the side of it, has a mech, a motorbike, and a fighter plane. So
Yeah,
it was actually a lot better than I thought it was.
Wow.
I've got no idea what game it is, though.
Oh, V3.
V3.
Yeah, I think that might be it. V3 arcade game. This is high quality content.
Yep, it is. The Vortec V3. Right, there we go. I've said it out loud now. Anybody listening? Ollie and Matt. The Vortec arcade game, and it looks fucking bizarre. I bet that gives you a headache after about 10 minutes.
Yeah, there's like a whole rig. Like, you don't even wear it. It hangs above you with this massive boom.
You put your face in it.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't. They mustn't have had the gyroscope technology then, right? So they've just used axes.
And the handle.
Yeah. That's super funny.
But yeah, so VR's been around for yonks.
But like,
yeah, dude, it's been around for long. I did a project on it at uni at one point, like a little presentation on the history of VR. There's loads of crazy shit. There was one that someone cooked up in a lab called like the Sword of Damocles, because it was this massive, great rig that hung from the ceiling. Yeah, bizarre.
Cool.
But like, if 10 years ago, so 10 years ago, I would have been playing Halo 3. If you'd said, hey, in 10 years, VR is going to be a thing, and it's going to be, like, it's not even going to be this weird, like, there's actually going to be VR games that you can get in shops, and you can buy a VR headset, I wouldn't have believed you at all. No way.
You're a goddamn liar.
I would have been like, I'm going to play Bungie's Halo 7 in 2017, and it's going to be on Xbox 360 still. This is going to be around forever.
You weren't a very smart man, were you?
What do you mean, weren't?
You weren't the brightest 12-year-old.
No. I was more interested in just playing Halo 3 custom games all day long.
I respect that.
They were fucking sick, though.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
I do miss those days. The custom Halo game has gone downhill since then.
Man. It's because I don't have all of my other 12-year-old friends to play it with me.
Yeah, but I feel like the environment for it is just not the same as, whatever, like shark zombies and stuff like that.
Shark zombies?
I think it's because there hasn't been a Halo game that's been as crazy big and, like, audience capturing as 3 since 3, has there?
No,
definitely not.
Because it seems like the tools in that new Forge definitely have the ability to make some pretty wild shit.
Yeah, the Forge now, the stuff, because it's been out for so long now, the stuff you see coming out of that is insane.
Like they've made like calculators and all sorts, like Minecraft level.
Yeah,
I love it when people make calculators and things that shouldn't make calculators.
It's completely absurd
and no one's playing it.
I think they've still got a fair bit of a player base, to be fair, but since Halo 3 or Halo Reach, I think it was Halo 3, became backwards compatible, apparently just like everybody started playing that again.
Oh, man, that's really cool.
And
that is really cool.
That they're actually fixing MCC for, so they're releasing it for the Xbox One X with like the 4K upgrade.
Yeah, I heard this.
And they've sort of finally come out being like, we realise it's really broken. We know the reasons why, and we can't quite talk about them all yet. But
is it because it has 9 different engines?
Yeah, they were. There's a lot of stuff about them being sort of very confident in their abilities, and they didn't quite know what was going to happen with the Xbox One yet.
Right. Yeah, I guess that was their first release on Xbox One, wasn't it?
Yeah, like that came out with the Xbox One.
Yeah.
I
Man.
think, anyway. Or very close to.
Yeah.
They were developing it before they knew what they had, really, I think.
Yeah. It is good they're going to fix it, though.
Yeah.
So everyone
Although-
can play it in 4K, not broken, if you really want to play Halo 1 again.
I want to play Halo 1 with Halo 1 graphics in 4K.
Shit, man.
Wow.
Do you think doing it, re-rendering it all in 4K will make the HD update to Halo 2 look good?
You'd hope so, right?
Because when we played through, the couple of times I've played through Halo 2 on the Master Chief Collection, there have been several points where I've accidentally had the HD textures turned off and not realised for like 10
Yeah.
minutes.
To be fair, I think that is a testament to Halo 2, because that was a surprisingly good-looking game.
Yeah, 100%. Like, the Halo 1 change is really noticeable.
Yeah.
They really gussied up those levels. They look great. But, yeah, the Halo 2 ones, you go, this isn't a huge difference, actually.
Yeah.
I haven't actually played Halo 2 Anniversary.
It's pretty good.
It's almost impossible to get working.
Oh, right, okay.
No, it's not. It's not. The single-player stuff, I remember lots of people having problems with. We played through, like, most of them, like Mark and we didn't have
Flawless, I
any
think.
issues.
Yeah, not a problem.
I think it crashed at one point, but that was it.
Yeah,
And to be fair, we were playing for, like, 20 hours straight.
yeah, we really gave it some Halo.
You've got to expect it to crash at least once. I mean, when I did that before on the Xbox 360, we broke an Xbox, so the fact that it ran...
Do you red ring
was
it?
pretty good. Huh?
Do you red ring an Xbox?
Gross.
Yeah, we had to, like, take it apart and cannibalize another one to get it all working.
That's fucking brilliant.
I think I've got a photo of it somewhere, but we were playing on an Xbox that was, like, all taken apart and just the machinery on the floor at one point. It was really cool.
That is pretty cool, to be fair.
That's a real dedication to playing Halo.
It's like
Well,
driving a
we-
car with no body.
We were doing it as a charity thing as well. We didn't get any money, but, you know.
Halo for charity.
Yeah, I think we just wanted to play Halo and thought, you know, it sounds like something you could potentially be sponsored for, so we'll just ask people to give us money.
Nobody did.
I think we got like 25 quid.
Sweet!
Oh, mate.
So still something.
Not enough to cover the broken Xbox.
It was like a dying old Xbox anyway, I think. So it wasn't too worrisome.
Oh man, what if the new Spiderman game breaks every PlayStation it goes on? That would be really sad. Obviously, it's probably not going to do that, but what if?
Like that.
How often do you think developers worry about that? It's like, shit guys, what if our game bricks the console?
One of Bungie's old games did that.
Oh really?
If you uninstalled, like, Myth 2, it uninstalled everything from your hard drive.
What?
Yeah, there was...
What?
They had to do a massive, like, product like, they'd already sent it out for, like, release, and then a couple of weeks before release, someone was like, yeah, you know that your new game breaks computers. And they had
Wow.
they had to spend like $1 million. I think they lost like $1 million, because they had to recall all of these copies.
I guess this was before patches as well, like pre-release.
Yeah, this was in like 1998 ish.
Yeah, exactly. Because nowadays you'd just be like, as soon as you turn it on, there's an update for this game.
Yeah, it was. They described it as like an accidental fuck you. Like, if you want to uninstall our game, we're going to take your entire computer.
That's kind of
pretty
brilliant.
Yep.
Yeah,
This has
Mate.
been an incredibly meandering conversation.
I felt pretty good about it. We've been really upbeat for the first time in this show's history. We've actually had like
Yeah.
good things to say for a full hour, as opposed to the last 2 weeks, where by the end of it, I've just been fucking miserable.
I mean,
Just remembering the good times, the good old days of the PS1.
I feel like maybe the issue with picking Spider-Man for the PS1 is that, like, I said what it was, everyone was like, yeah, that's a sick game. And that was it. Like, we all just agree it's an awesome game, but we all agree it's an awesome game, but if you haven't played it...
conversation about Insomniac and Spider-Man.
This is true. If it's an awesome game, but if you haven't played it, don't, because it's so old, it's going to play like shit.
Oh yeah, don't go back. You can't go home again.
Although I think you could definitely go back to Spider-Man 2, the movie tie-in game.
Yeah, I reckon you probably could, because PlayStation 2 holds up a bit better, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, like, I feel like that's what show and tell has become already, is that we don't necessarily talk about the game someone brings in, but it does promote good conversation.
Yeah.
For sure.
Doesn't matter if we just completely ignore whatever game someone comes with.
There's going to be a really mean episode where someone's like, so I want to talk about this game, and it's like, nah, I don't think so.
Someone else just, I've got something else to say, so let's not bother. It doesn't tie in anyway, but, you know.
Maybe we've got time at the end, we'll go back to this, but we've got this thing to go over.
Oh man, I've got to think of something that will promote conversation for next week now.
You can do it.
I was very worried the past few days, just like, I need to think of something good, and I was like, it's Tom's turn.
I didn't need to think of shit.
I had a few just in case Tom had forgotten.
I like it.
Episode 4, Titanfall 2.
See, I really want to just go for Halo. I feel like we could talk for ages about Halo.
You should do like Halo Waypoint.
Yeah, is that the... Oh, the
one that was like a hub.
Support thing.
Yeah. That just like showed all of your achievements and medals and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good, looking at all your medals.
Hell yeah.
Is that the one that would also show you heat maps of levels? So you could see where, like, footpaths and stuff in levels?
Yeah, you see like the most frequent places to die and kill. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's sweet as fuck. I love data.
It was like, do you remember that Call of Duty Elite? It came out with like Black Ops or whatever.
Yeah.
That, it was going for the same thing, wasn't it? I don't think it carried on. I don't know, maybe it did, actually.
Man, that comes out on Friday.
Yeah. Lots of games can. Well, we're dating the game.
I don't know.
Lots of games.
We haven't said which Call of Duty game.
Which Friday? Could be any Friday. Well, no. But you know what I mean.
Whenever you listen to this podcast, there's a Call of Duty coming out the next Friday.
And also a Spider-Man game coming out next year.
Oh, imagine living in that world. Call of Duty every week and a Spider-Man every year. So I'm running for office off that. That's my platform.
Call of Duty every week.
Spider-Man every year.
Every games developer has been tasked with just Call of Duty games.
Wow.
That's the level of gaming environment we've gotten to.
But it's like, this Call of Duty game is a 3D platformer, and this Call of Duty game is like a city building sim.
Call of Duty Gwent.
Oh my god, you have to build your trenches or something.
Yeah, you have to build your Middle Eastern war zone.
Damn.
Yeah, Call of Duty Elite lasted for 2 years. Or just under 2 years.
How long did the Halo one last for?
I think Halo Waypoint's still going.
Sweet! Good for Halo.
Because, like, they reinvigorated it with Halo 5, I think.
Oh, man.
So it's where they put all of their blog posts, but it's also where you can, like, I think you can watch stuff on it.
You can watch anything. Right. Has anybody got any closing thoughts about Spider-Man 2000 and VR games?
Pretty good.
Yeah, why not?
Overall, a good time.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Or it was awesome. It's now 17 years old and is ugly and slow.
Yeah, I remember
Like you.
getting really angry about that game.
Wait, what?
Sorry, that was mean. What was that, Dylan?
I remember Tom getting quite annoyed playing that game at some points.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you can go back to it. Significant though, and I think it will be inspiration to this new one. I think that wouldn't be unreasonable. Like I know there are a lot of people with fond memories of that game. So I think when that new one comes around, I think it'll be inspiration. What I mean is, when I googled Insomniac Spider-Man, the first thing I got was a Guardian article saying, "Will Insomniac's new Spider-Man game live up to the original, the PlayStation 1?"
It's all anyone cares about is like, will it be as good though?
That's an important question.
Like, come on, guys. There's one game we're comparing you to, and it is a 17-year-old Spider-Man game. Surely
That
you
looks
can beat
and
that.
plays like a turd.
Man, imagine having to compete with that. Childhood memories.
Nintendo manages to compete with nostalgia on a pretty good basis.
Yeah, they do it pretty well.
Most of the time. They've had some clunkers.
I feel like they've got a pretty good rate though going.
God, this year, fucking good year for Nintendo. Holy shit. 2017, man. They're literally competing against themselves for the most critically acclaimed game of the year.
It's a pretty good place to be in.
What are they going to bring out next year?
I
Nothing.
don't know. I mean,
They announced a Metroid Prime game, a new Metroid Prime game, didn't they?
Yeah, it's not made by Retro though, is it?
yeah.
No. But I mean, it's still going to be coming out on the Switch, right? Although that won't be next year, I don't think.
I'd be well surprised if all they had 6 months ago was a logo saying, "No, we finally decided we're going to do one of these." Yeah.
Oh man, imagine if they came out with like a surprise full 3D Star Fox game that wasn't just like
That would
from a
be
plane into a
awesome.
tank.
That would be so good.
They did that on the GameCube, didn't they? Star Fox Adventures, where you like
Yeah.
actually walked around as Cloud.
I
Yeah,
loved
man.
that game.
That game was so good.
Was there a lot of dinosaurs in that
but
game?
it was great. Yeah, you had like a pet Triceratops.
Yeah. And then you had like that awesome little bit when you were transferring between different planets. You would jump into his spaceship.
Can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but you jump into his spaceship when you're jumping between planets and then like take out meteors and stuff.
Yeah. Man, I loved that game. The GameCube was good.
Yeah.
I'm going to put out this controversial opinion right now. The GameCube was good.
I like the GameCube.
I'm going to put out the controversial opinion that if we are now talking about Star Fox Adventures in a positive light, then you really can't beat nostalgia.
Yeah.
Because I think my understanding of Star Fox Adventures is it is a steaming pile of trash.
I did say that when Jack just said that was a really good game. I don't think it actually was.
I mean, for what it was at the time,
No, even then, I think it was
No,
quite bad.
it was-
I
it
just
was-
loved it.
I used to like that game.
But this is it. So this is then goes back, much like Spider-Man 2000, you can't beat nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the critical reception for Star Fox? It's got a surprisingly good reviews actually. It's got 82 out of 100 on Metacritic.
Oh
See,
man.
good game.
There we go.
Now I'm lying to myself.
Despite
No,
mostly positive reviews, it's often criticised for it being too much of a departure from the other Star Fox games.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a bad reason to not like something if it's too different from other things. You gotta switch it up sometimes, right?
You're not wrong, mate. Speaking of switching it up, let's stop this podcast so I can play Mario.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
I may well go and play Spider-Man.
I'm gonna go
Nice.
find a GameCube and Star Fox Adventures.
Emulate it. The Dolphin emulator is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It runs really well.
we don't promote emulation.
No, that's why we talk about Neo Geos that work over the internet.
Nah, we've just rigged up some sick Neo Geos.
Those are Neo Geo LAN parties. Right, gents, it's been a pleasure.
It's been good.
Indeed.
Thanks for the game, Tom.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Tom.
Thanks for listening to my bullshit.
It's good shit. Right, let's say bye to the recording. Bye, recording.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. See you later.